Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today we continue our series of decks led by the new legendary creatures from The Hobbit. Leading today's deck is my favorite trio of idiots, the Trolls, Tom, Bert, and William. Tom, Bert, and William are a 5-mana 5/5 legendary troll. We may pay 1 and sacrifice another creature. If we do, we draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, then discard a card. When Tom, Bert, and William die, if they were a creature, we return them to the battlefield, but this time, they're an artifact and no longer a creature. In Middle-earth, orcs are tortured, modified versions of elves, a mockery of the race created by Morgoth back in the First Age. Later on, it is believed that trolls came from humans in a similar fashion, but Treebeard believes they were made as a mockery of Ents. Regardless, trolls cannot stand sunlight and turn to stone when the purifying rays of the sun hit them. Bilbo and the 13 dwarves come across Tom, Bert, and William when they are feasting on mutton. They catch Bilbo, who yells to warn the dwarves, but the dwarves are too slow, and all of them are captured. The trolls then argue throughout the night on how best to cook this feast, and the arguing gets louder and more ferocious throughout the night until suddenly, the sun peeks over the horizon. At this point, we learn that Gandalf had been imitating the trolls' voices, and in their heated states, they had lost track of time. Now, in Magic, we've got a legendary creature that can sacrifice creatures to draw cards. In my opinion, that means this is an Aristocrats deck. Yes, we could build a Reanimator deck, but I'm always up for making Aristocrats decks. Also, this one presents a bit of a challenge. When we use Tom, Bert, and William to sacrifice a creature, we draw cards equal to its power and then discard a card. So if we sacrifice a 0/1, we're basically discarding a card with no benefit. And if we sacrifice a 1/1, we're simply looting. Well, we're not a red deck, so we won't be doing looting here. Golgari is greedy after all, so we generally want to be sacrificing creatures with at least 2 power. Also, I wanted this deck to be bracket 3, so we're not exactly budget, but we're also not as ruthless as can be. But before we get to our deck list, a quick word from our sponsor, BCW. BCW has been making high-quality, cost-effective products for both collectors and retailers for over 40 years. If you want to store, display, or sort your cards, check them out. I've been using their inner sleeves for years now and have never had an issue. Be sure to click the link down below and use code DANON10 for a 10% discount on your order. In order to build a functional commander deck, you need lots of different pieces, which is why I try to rely on my handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Real quick, before we get to our deck list, I do occasionally stream on this channel, and if you see me live, come say hi. I'll be building commander decks either for patrons or for future videos, so make sure you're subscribed and click the bell icon so you'll get notified when I'm live. Starting off our land base, we've got Command Tower and Exotic Orchard, 2 lands that can go in just about any multicolored commander deck. Next up, we've got Verdant Catacombs, Bloodstained Mire, Windswept Heath, Polluted Delta, and Wooded Foothills serving as fetches. As a reminder for people new to Commander, fetch lands do not have a color identity because they do not produce mana. We're also running Overgrown Tomb, Underground Mortuary, Turbulent Fen, Woodland Chasm, Haunted Mire, Vernal Fen, and Festering Thicket, all serving as fetchable dual-colored lands. We've also got Undergrowth Stadium, Deathcap Glade, Woodland Cemetery, Tainted Wood, Wastewood Verge, Viridescent Bog, Twilight Mire, Llanowar Wastes, Darkboar Pathway, Necroblossom Snarl, Temple of Malady, and Golgari Rot Farm, all serving as untyped dual-colored lands. Next up, Bojuka Bog and Field of the Dead serve as our utility lands. Finally, we've got 2 swamps, 2 snow-covered swamps, 3 forests, and 3 snow-covered forests serving as basics. I like to split between basics and snow-covered basics when we have Field of the Dead in a 2-colored deck, just in case. Starting off our mana ramp, we've got Soul Ring serving as our Soul Mana Rock. Next up, Ashnod's Altar, Phyrexian Altar, Warren Soul Trader, and White of the Reliquary, all serving as thematic ramp. Though I suppose Pitiless Plunderer and Black Market Connections are also thematic, but I figured I'd mark them as treasure generators. Finally, we've got Sakura Tribe Elder, 3 Visits, Rampant Growth, Farseek, Nature's Lore, Skyshroud Claim, and Crop Rotation serving as land ramp. Lots of ways to stay ahead of the curve. Our card advantage package consists of Skull Clamp, Moldervine Reclamation, Deadly Dispute, Eternal Witness, Victimize, Morbid Opportunist, Plumb the Forbidden, Liliana Dreadhorde General, Diabolic Intent, Death Reap Ritual, and Phyrexian Arena. Lots of ways to dig through our deck and keep our hands full. Now, some of you were looking at Skull Clamp and wondering why I included it in a deck where we have bigger tokens and not an army of 1/1s. Skull Clamp is a great way to draw cards in any deck that has a lot of creatures, not just an Aristocrats deck. I don't run it in a lot of decks because, as I'm sure you've noticed, I tend to run lower creature counts. For interaction and spot removal, we've got Assassin's Trophy, Priest of Forgotten Gods, Beast Within, Plague Crafter, Accursed Marauder, Reclamation Sage, Fleshbag Marauder, Heroic Intervention, Tragic Slip, and Immoral Bargain. Lots of ways to remove annoying permanents. You'll note we're not running Grave Pact or Dictate of Erebos. That's because we're being a little nicer with this deck. For board wipes, we've got Toxic Deluge, the Meat Hook Massacre, and Blasphemous Edict. Lots of ways to remove annoying permanents, and most of them get around indestructible creatures. For additional sack outlets, we've got Viscera and Carrion Feeder. Next up, we've got Zulaport Cutthroat, Blood Artist, Bastion of Remembrance, Cauldron of Essence, Mirkwood Bats, Poison Tip Archer, Sir Conrad the Grim, Nadir's Nightblade, and Marionette Apprentice, all serving as aristocrat effects. And since most of those effects cause us to gain life when a creature dies, in addition to damaging our opponents, we've also got Veto, Thorn of the Duskrose, Dina Soulsteeper, and Sanguine Bond helping us to double those triggers. Finally, for creature generation, we've got Rampaging Baloths, Primeval Bounty, Avenger of Zendikar, Orcish Bowmasters, Zendikar's Royal, Springheart Nantuko, Sapling Nursery, Mazarek Kral Death Priest, and Doubling Season. I like Doubling Season in this deck because it synergizes with both our token generation and the small +1/+1 counters package we have. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 52 mana sources, but between 38 lands and 14 pieces of ramp. A little heavy, but our deck has a small landfall package, so it's fine. 12 pieces of card advantage, counting our commander. 10 pieces of interaction. 3 board wipes. 1 piece of graveyard hate in Bajuka Bog. 1 sudden I win card in the Meat Hook Massacre. A board wipe that clears out everything and then can win us the game at the same time? How delightful. But seriously, this is a bracket 3 Aristocrats deck. We're not a combo deck by any means. Our deck's purpose is to eat dwarves, or spend all night arguing on the best way to cook them. Are you building a Tom, Bert, and William commander deck? What's your secret deck tech? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You can have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Marcus, Brett, Roxy, Alix, Robert, Pi, Kazaris, Patrick, Boomy, Osra, Sleech, Luke, Mr. Salty, Daniel Zombie, Brian Waka, Talathia Azander, Michael, and John. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.